What is up, Packers fans, and welcome back to the Daily Draft. I'm your host, Ross Uglem. Today we're brought to you, as always, by our friends at Badger State Brewing right there in Green Bay, Wisconsin, just minutes away from beautiful Lambeau Field. I'm so darn excited today because we are talking about one of my favorite prospects in this whole draft for the Green Bay Packers, the king of thick, Kenneth Grant from Michigan. Got to start this off on the pro side by shouting out our guy Jacob Westendorf. Kenneth Grant is, of course, a national champion 2 years ago, winning a national championship and a part of that nasty Michigan defense that got their defensive coordinator Jesse Minter hired. Certainly working next to Mason Graham, a probable top 5 or top 6 pick in this year's class. No, we will not be doing a Mason Graham prospect primer because there's no way Mason Graham is going to be there. I know I'm a big don't say he won't be there guy. Mason Graham's not going to be there unless they trade up. So we're not gonna use whatever your time on Mason Graham. That's okay. At 6'3.5", 342, he's a big boy. This would be your Kenny Clark, TJ Slayton guy, right? Slayton's no longer under contract, so that's a big deal. But he's a nose tackle. He's a one tech. The Packers have so many guys that want to get up the field, right? Devontae Wyatt, Carl Brooks, Colby Wooden, they all want to go up the field. And then you've got the guys that can reduce inside, and they don't do that a ton, but, right, like LVN can play defensive tackle if you want him to. Rashawn Gary could rush from the inside if they wanted, but like I said, Brooks, upfield, Wyatt, upfield, Colby Wooden, upfield, so much upfield. Not a ton of guys that can take on double teams. Kenny Clark hardly even wants to take on double teams anymore. If you watch the film, I think Kenneth Grant would really be cool. Plus, you'd have 2 Kennys. That'd be really fun for everyone. He's got Pro Football Focus pass rush grades above 75 in both of the last 2 seasons against high-level competition. Obviously, he's in the Big Ten. They won the national title 2 years ago. Their number 1 rival won the national title this year. He's playing against the biggest of the boys. And he's got a pass rush grade at 342 pounds, above 75 for 2 years. We like that. That's rare at that size. Not a lot of 342-pound guys getting that kind of work against the pass. He's a younger prospect. He's got plenty of runway, right? He won't turn in 22 until late in his rookie year. With COVID, with NIL, you're seeing a lot of older prospects come into the draft. He's not one of them. He will turn 22 basically Halloween of his rookie year. So young kid, lots of progression potentially. I'm not saying he's going to get any bigger, but, a ton of physical development and added strength maturity that could come with him turning 24, 25, 26 years old and really getting him to his prime. Because right now, I would say that he's super impressive and that kind of runway is really, really exciting. He absolutely, guys, go watch the film if you can. He absolutely wrecked shop against the run. And look, man, I am the biggest pass matters guy in the world, right? I think like the Eagles are the exception that proves the rule. The Saquon thing is cool, but they also dumped huge resources into Dallas Goedert, Devonta Smith, and A.J. Brown. Huge resources. And stopping the passes is the number one thing, but you got to have a guy on your roster to shut down the run. And if Kenny Clark doesn't want to do that anymore and TJ Slayton's gone, this is going to be important. And this was, if not one of the better run defenders in all of college football, any position, but obviously defensive tackle is an incredibly important position against the run. And Kenneth Grant was awesome, man. Specifically, he can't be blocked one-on-one. It just won't work in the run game. You have to center guard him. You got to double team him. And really, he's tough to move against double teams. He's tough to displace with a double team. He will ruin a single team, but he will stick his damn knee in the ground and not get moved by a double team either. And that's big because that keeps your linebackers clean. That is a huge deal. And he is a very, very, very fun guy to have on your defensive line. Like I said, man, truly, truly elite defending the run. And he also claims that he's going to run a 4.8 flat 40 at 340 pounds. I would very much like to see that. I would very much like to see that. And if he does that, I would very much like that on my football team. And you can see some crazy like chase down stuff. Some of his pursuit stuff, if you turn on Michigan's film, is bananas. absolutely bananas, especially you consider he's 342 pounds. Cons, pass rush production, box score stats are limited. Again, grades out well by Pro Football Focus. Pressure is really more in the mid-20s. I think he's got, by the way, like 8 total sacks over the last 2 years. You'd hope him to be a 5 or a 6 sack guy at the next level. Even if he's a truly dominant run defender, that's where we get into a lot of what he does or could. A lot of the pass rush side of Kenneth Grant is still projection. And if he doesn't add anything, this is the Tavondre Sweat, guys. I fell in love with Tavondre Sweat. Then I kind of broke up with Tavondre Sweat, and he was awesome. And I don't know how many sacks he had. I'll look it up right now. This is great theater here. Great podcasting. Great YouTubing. 1. He had a sack, which sort of was my point, okay? But you would never say that Tavondre Sweat was not a good pick for the Titans because he was a good pick. But that whole thing then goes right back into, if a nose tackle is just a nose tackle, is that more of a round 3 type of thing? Because if he doesn't help your pass rush group at all, what's he worth to your football team? Tavondre Sweat, awesome player. What's that worth? Maybe it is worth closer to where Tennessee actually ended up taking him. But I'm not ready to go there with Kenneth Grant. Agility is not what I would say a strength as far as being light on his feet side to side. I think that occasionally gets brought to light when defending the outside zone runs. Outside zone is one of the more popular plays in the NFL. Matt LaFleur runs it. O'Connell runs it. Shanahan runs it. McVay runs it. That whole tree likes to run outside zone, and it's not just those guys. OZ is a big play in NFL football. And if your defensive tackles can't move laterally and kind of maintain where they're at, you can either get beat to a spot or you leave a cutback lane wide open. And that's not great for your linebackers, but we're kind of picking nits. And when you hear my grade and where I rank him, you will understand that I am indeed picking nits. It's not, I don't have a ton of huge red flags for Kenneth Grant. I'm really excited about him as an NFL football player. Packers fit. I think he's a high fit. Okay. They've taken John Runyon and Rashawn Gary out of Michigan under Goody. They took Jake Ryan under Ted. And obviously Goody was a part of that. So they know Michigan, right? Charles Woodson is a Packers Hall of Famer, or will be, or should be, or is a regular Hall of Famer. But they have a good culture fit with Michigan guys. It's upper Midwest football. They play outside in the cold. Green Bay plays outside in the cold. They're not going to have any problem taking a guy from Michigan, especially with how pro-ready that program was with Harbaugh and Minter there. And, Wink Martindale was the defensive coordinator this last year. They're as ready to go as it gets, man. TJ Slayton no longer under contract. That's important to note when you're talking about Packers fit is they kind of have the one true nose tackle because Kenny Clark was kind of doing both and really seemed to want to pass rush more. Slayton was kind of the dude. And he's not there anymore. We don't know if he's not going to resign, but right now he's not on the roster. So I'm interested in nose tackles. And frankly, I'm interested in another nose tackle body either way. They have so many guys trying to get up the field. So that's important. They need a D tackle who can take on a double team and defend the run. So many guys looking to get upfield. Overall, he's got a solid first round grade for me, and I don't anticipate it moving a ton unless he just blows up the combine and I kind of move him into that elite status, that top 10 grade status. I don't think he's going to get, that top 5 grade from me. I just don't see that happening. But he's a really, really fun player. I'm willing to bet he can be a 5 sack guy in the NFL. And if he's Tavondre Sweat and get you 5 or 6 sacks, and the pressures that would come with those sacks, and the pocket manipulation that would come with those sacks, then he is a first round guy. And that's where I have him. I have him player 22. I have him as my 3rd ranked interior defensive lineman. Folks, I don't know if I mentioned the guide, right? The Green Bay draft guide powered by Pack Report should have a link right down here, and get 10% off or $1 off that with promo code draft, or is it daily? Promo code, once again, this is great podcasting. Promo code daily. The link here The link here already puts in the promo code for you. So you're taken care of. I just didn't want to screw it up. And especially for you podcast listeners, I didn't want to screw that up. It is not promo code draft. It is promo code daily. But the draft guide is going to be awesome. It was awesome last year. It really, I think, narrowed the scope for folks. I think it really kind of guided you towards who the Packers might take. And I think that's valuable in this kind of analysis, right? And after that, do everything you're supposed to do right here. Pack a Day Podcast YouTube channel. Click the bell so you get the notifications. Subscribe, of course, so that you can get every ounce of Packers content that you require on a daily basis. Have a phenomenal weekend, folks. And go Pack Go!